Yo, Corn Fam! It's been a little while. Now, if you don't remember, when the tokenomics update came out, quite a while ago now, I had a lot of questions, and so did the community. So I thought it was a good idea maybe to go through and get some questions from the community, and I had the opportunity to sit down with Ben, the financial director of Cornucopias, to get some of these questions answered. Now, it's taken a while to get approved, but it's still here, it's still relevant, and a little bit of alpha had to be edited out. However, it's still a very worthwhile video to share, especially because it holds a lot of questions from the community. So whatever can get answered and shared is definitely worth listening to. So here it is, a little late, but still very exciting. So without further ado, here is the tokenomics update with Ben, community questions. Thank you so much, Ben, for your very valuable time and joining us here today. Thanks for coming by.
Sure. Glad to be here. And thanks for the opportunity to answer some questions and clear up any confusion on the tokenomics.
Awesome. So kind of the way we went about this was I reached out to the community and asked if they had any questions and wanted some clarity on any of the subject within the paper. And there was an onslaught of questions. I got responses via Twitter posts, Discord private messages. I even got a phone call. So we received over 50 questions, and I tried to consolidate them the best I could to things that are, one, answerable. And if you don't see one of your questions, it's most likely it was based on gameplay, and those are things that David is more keen to answer, and he may answer in the future in COPI cafes. But for the most part, most of the questions made it through, so I'm very, very excited about that, and excited to get through them. So I think we'll just kind of crack into it because we got a lot ahead of us. So that sounds good to you, Ben. We'll jump on in. All right. So we'll kind of split it up into a few different segments here. We're going to start out with the COPI and in-game currency questions. First one is, you can buy in-game currency with COPI, but can you buy COPI with in-game currency? So is that a loop that goes both ways?
It's not. And for, I guess, one primary reason is just, and I'll explain a little bit of the background. We initially wanted to have kind of an AMM structure that allowed the flow of COPI to IGC and IGC to COPI. But as mentioned previously, we've worked with a couple economists, and the economist that we talked to that has a lot of experience on the Web 2 side just kind of explained that it doesn't add a ton of value to the project to be able to do that, and it just adds a lot of complexity from managing the in-game economy. And so we decided to keep those separate. So yes, you can purchase IGC with COPI, but you cannot convert the other way.
Okay, so it's kind of adding another layer of security to the stabilization of the economy. Is that right?
Yeah, to the in-game economy. And now, there are going to be ways, and I know that there's probably a question that covers this, but you can use IGC in the game to purchase assets and things like that. So there will be some similarities between it, but a direct exchange will not be possible.
Okay, awesome. How will the marketplace be seamless to all chains for COPI purchasing? Will future mints be allowed from any chain of COPI pairs, and how would this minting process allow for this?
So yeah, as mentioned in COPI cafes by Josh and Rob, we are kind of a chain agnostic project. We're trying to expand to the masses, and our goal is to accept COPI on the marketplace for all chains. Now, the question does say purchasing COPI, so just want to clarify that because we aren't really facilitating the purchase of COPI on the platform. Outside of, we have discussed the Web 2 onboarding process of bringing in a third party kind of widget or integration into the website that allows a Web 2 user to use a credit card to basically purchase items on the marketplace, and through the back end process of that, there's COPI purchased through that third party. So you will be able to use COPI from all chains to purchase items on the marketplace, all chains that we are, have liquidity on. But purchasing of COPI will not be something that is really directly done on the platform.
Okay. So like in a future mint coming up, say a vehicle down the road, when this is all set up, you have a wallet of COPI from BNB, you have a wallet of COPI from the ADA chain, and the mint is live. It's not going to matter which wallet you connect to purchase said asset. Is that correct? Or to mint said asset?
That is still something that we're working towards, figuring out the best solution. Obviously, we are very, we prioritize the user experience, to be something that we want to, nail basically. We want the user to have an easy experience, and obviously being able to use any COPI on any chain would make that process easy, but we're still in the early stages of that. So.
Okay, fair. And then that would assume similar then for how an asset would mint, for it to be able to mint to any chain wallet as well, and then that would link into secondary issues as well. So I guess it's being thought of, but it's not quite in the playbook yet.
Yeah, because you have a mint that goes across multiple chains, and then these assets are used in game. It creates complexities within the marketplace for players trading assets, for just lots of different things. And, we're definitely exploring solutions, but not really to the point where we can share details yet. So.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Will there be an in-house on and off ramp for COPI to fiat and fiat to COPI? I'm assuming within the marketplace. And how will that be facilitated? I think you spoke a little bit on this on the widget side. If you want any more clarity on that.
Yeah, so some of you may be familiar when you use MetaMask. MoonPay is quite a familiar name as far as using a credit card or bank wire to purchase COPI, or not COPI, purchase a cryptocurrency directly. And we have spoken with several vendors like MoonPay. They have services that basically can integrate with your website and facilitate the purchase of your project cryptocurrency. Obviously, COPI is ours, and they have processes in the background to pull from liquidity pools and deposit that to the user account. There's a couple different ways that, from a user perspective, that would be done. If the user already has a wallet, they could paste that in and get the COPI deposited there. We're also looking at automated wallet generation for more Web 2 non-crypto savvy users that don't really have to kind of deal with that whole, can of worms, and they can just elect to have a wallet created for them.
Right. And
it's done in the background, and then it would be non-custodial, and they would there would be a way for them to access that at some point in the future if they kind of wanted to bridge into the Web3 world a little bit.
Sure. Okay, so and you kind of covered this. Will a credit card payment be an option? So yes. I guess the only thing I could expand upon that is it says for purchase of IGC and NFT. So would they actually, if they're using something like MoonPay or something, they're going to have to use the credit card first to purchase COPI and then use that COPI to purchase or to mint an NFT, say? Or could it be a direct option of credit card to NFT?
It's likely going to be a direct option because the whole scenario, if you pre-fund, if you have a Web2 user that comes to the platform and they pre-fund a wallet or something with COPI, that then they take to the marketplace and use, and then let's say that the Web2 user just churns and no longer is on the platform,
Yeah.
and they never access that wallet. And let's say that happens to hundreds of thousands of users over the course of 5 years. You may have COPI just indirectly burned in a wallet, and so not sure that would actually play out like that, but that is something that we've thought of and is kind of leaned us more towards just having the payment flow be for a direct checkout type process.
Sure. Yeah. That's all exciting. I'm assuming that that these Web 2 kind of based things won't be in the first iteration, or maybe that's not known yet, of the marketplace.
Well, to my surprise, integrating these things, the widgets and stuff into the website is not real heavy on dev work, but I don't know from our side what else we have to do to make that accessible. So I would think that we could have that in without too much trouble, but there's a lot of other variables at play, so I can't really speak to the timing of that.
Yeah, fair. I will not try to nail you on any timing of anything. I know that's
Yep.
Okay.
All good. And then real quick back on that top question. I don't know if I covered the fiat to COPI side.
Sure.
So that obviously would be a nice plus, and can typically be handled by these vendors. There are some legal sides of it going from fiat to COPI that I think are taken care of by using one of these vendors, but we are still, I guess, covering that side and making sure that it's not going to be an issue.
Okay.
Worst case is you could take it to a DEX and trade it there or an exchange. So.
Sure. Okay. All right. Can you speak to what you can purchase with COPI that you cannot purchase with in-game currency and vice versa? So I would assume kind of in what... Well, I'll let you take it.
So it is still a little early in the details of this, but right now, kind of the base plan is that COPI will be used for like the Web3 marketplace outside of the game.
Okay.
IGC will be used for purchases within the game. In the long term, it is very possible that we allow COPI to be used, in game for purchases, but there's some reasons why we may not want to go there first. Is just because there are some platforms that we would like to get exposure to that you kind of risk being blocked out if you have crypto within the game, and so we're kind of planning for the long term to have that because that would be a nice plus, but I think to start they will be pretty separated. So
okay, so when you speak to in-game purchases, that's in reference to like things you would buy in a storefront within the game, like in the mining, or would that also refer to like building up your buildings within the game, like on your land?
Yes, I believe so, but now we're venturing into
gameplay
related stuff.
We'll leave that for David. Okay,
yeah, sounds good.
Okay, axe that. It seems
all good.
It seems to me, in one sense, the tokenomics is deflationary. You can think of COPI's circulating supply as being separated into two distinct subcategories, namely one, the COPI which is being devoted to in-game use, and two, the COPI which is being held outside of the game economy. As the number of game players and their engagement increases over time in order to accommodate gameplay, COPI will have to move out of the outside subcategory and into the in-game subcategory, thereby reducing the float, i.e., it will be deflationary relative to the outside COPI supply. Is that correct? Now, this is why I'm glad you're here, because that means a whole lot of nothing to me. But if you have a take on it, I'm sure.
It's definitely interesting question. So there's a couple assumptions in that question that I just want to clarify first. The two distinct categories. So COPI, as of now, as kind of discussed in the last question, is not, going to be, kind of locked up in the game. I'm not really sure what was being implied there. So the, COPI that a user has is going to be in their wallet, and they can connect to our marketplace and use it for purchases, but at the same time, they can still, 5 minutes later go out and sell that or whatever on a DEX or anything. So it's not like there's two categories. It's still part of the overall circulation. Now, if what they're referencing is COPI being used as payment and going to Cornucopias Treasury, that as well is not going to be locked up in the game. Yes, we are making it our official marketplace currency, but what that means is that it's our only source of revenue, and we have operations, we have expenses that we have to cover. So that COPI likely will be converted back into stablecoin or fiat, as needed in order to keep running.
Okay.
Keep the lights on. So.
Right. If you're not, yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So the deflationary aspect, I'm not sure if that was kind of focused on just the COPI being used as payment to us and reducing the supply, but hopefully I addressed that.
Okay. All right. The paper states sales for items such as node licenses or advertising space may be available for purchase in currencies other than COPI. I understand the system will not yet be ready for the F9R upcoming mint. However, will all future NFT sales outside of the nodes and advertisement space be planned on being minted in COPI? And if you're not aware, if you don't know exactly which NFT it will start with, I understand that, of course, but
yeah, I can't really provide. This hasn't even been discussed. Like, we just released the tokenomics, and obviously the COPI being used for the marketplace currency is definitely the plan, and sooner the better for when we are able to put everything together for that. But yeah, I honestly don't know the timing of it.
Yeah, fair. Okay. All right, another long one here. Since they are using COPI directly in game for purchases, now I think you already proved that not to be quite true, but we'll keep moving on. Will the game adjust the prices of the in-game items as COPI value fluctuates in the market? In terms of USD, Burger Barn burgers could be $1 today and $1.25 tomorrow, or vice versa. Perhaps the game is not concerned with the real-world value, which I could understand, but I would like to know if they are concerned by it. If so, how will they mitigate the fluctuations? This is only a concern because of how wildly I expect COPI price to fluctuate in the next couple of years. But I think COPI will find a relatively steady state at some point. Maybe they just let it play out with the same assumption, but I won't be buying too many $5 COPI colas. But a lot of assumptions made there, but if you could clarify for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of it that I think will be addressed by the in-game economy, so maybe it still applies a little bit, but yeah, at least to start, COPI won't be part of the in-game economy, so that would be purchased with IGC,
right,
and that will be managed as part of the in-game economy. So I don't see there being any issues there.
So, and I don't know if you can answer this then, but will the conversion rate of COPI to IGC be fluctuating then at a constant, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that. Okay. I would guess that's definitely a possibility, but I don't think, it being a currency that lives inside of a game, I don't think that would be something that would fluctuate as much as a traded token. So
okay. All right, looks like we're moving on to our next segment, which is staking questions, and our largest segment. Lots of questions on staking and the staking mechanism.
I did notice that.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll jump right off because this is a change from what we're currently doing to supposedly what will be kind of an in-house situation. So it says, what platforms will be used for the staking and in-game marketplace? Are these being built in-house or are they being built out by partners?
So, yes, to answer the platform question, the goal is to have all of it accessible through your web account.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Illuvium, but they have a pretty neat staking dashboard. That's not necessarily what we're going for, but just making the user experience very central to our website and being able to manage, kind of your gameplay, your rewards, your staking actions, all of that in one place would be quite ideal. So
Okay, so all of these kind of in-house systems will live more on your web account than it would on your actual launcher. Is that right?
I would imagine, I can't answer the tech side of it. I don't know if they'll commingle launcher with that kind of thing. I'm not sure. I would guess it would just be the website, but if they can put it on the launcher, maybe that would be pretty sweet.
Okay. More in-game questions. Apologize. All right.
That's it.
Is there any talk of single-sided liquidity providing for COPI? I would guess that's within the kind of staking program they're speaking of. I've personally heard of this a little bit. The new tech side coming into things like AXO or Genius Yield, but I'm not really familiar with the tech of it and if it's something available.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm not as familiar with this as well. I've done a little bit of research on it, and I don't see why we wouldn't explore it, at least as an option, because I believe it is a little bit easier to access and reduces the impermanent loss risk. So yeah, we're not to the point of a concrete plan, so I don't see why we wouldn't explore this as a possibility.
Okay. Okay, this is a question that caused a lot of confusion. The document says COPI USDC pair in reference to staking and rewards. Will all pairs be available to stake and be pulling from the same rewards pool equally? Will in-game rewards only be awarded in COPI USDC?
So yeah, apologies to the community for the COPI USDC usage. That definitely seemed to throw a lot of people off. And just to clarify, that was meant to just be a simple example. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the pairs that will be, pairs that you can provide liquidity on will likely be dexes that were traded heavily on. We'll make those official, for right now, it likely would be, BNB COPI, ETH COPI, ADA COPI. Those pairs would make the most sense. But yeah, we will provide kind of official pairs for LP stuff later time. And then in-game rewards, those will be credited to a player account, and then you can, hopefully claim those to the chain of your choice. I know that our rewards pool is currently on BSC. I think a little bit of it is on Ethereum. So from a smart contract development standpoint, it may be that we start out with BSC only as claimable rewards, and then gradually the others.
Awesome. That is very exciting. Okay. Will the guilds be permitted to pass a discount on to its members if they stake and lock up to 1 million plus copies? So in reference to the discounted staking system.
Yeah. And so on the discounts, we have a little asterisk down there that said it's for illustrator purposes only. We do plan to have the discount program. As far as the amounts that will be required, those are likely going to change, and it's potentially going to be tied to a USD value instead.
Okay.
We got to figure out what makes sense there, but there will be discounts for staking, and I don't see why you might not be able to pool assets for a particular account. I don't know about passing those discounts on to other accounts that might not make sense, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. Still early, and we will
So
Time for that later.
unknown at the moment. We'll stick with that.
As far as the specifics of the amounts and tiers, I would say a little unknown.
Okay. All right. Okay, we got a lot here. I'll kind of just take them singularly. Will the staking COPI for COPI be a fixed APY or variable?
That will be variable, pretty traditional, fixed reward pool, and the amount that is staked will determine what the APY is.
Okay, so based on how much the pool, so similar to Tokens Farm at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then will that be changed within season? Like, are you, well?
So yeah, the index, I call it the index. It's the 2.5 basis point benchmark. That's kind of the starting point for determining what the rewards will be, but we have a lot of flexibility in, making each program have the amount that we believe it needs in order to achieve, the goals that we want. So.
Okay. What is the formula for figuring the APY out? So you kind of shared it's going to be based on how much is staked. I don't know if you.
Yep.
Yeah. Will the staking be custodial or non-custodial? This was definitely asked a lot within Discord.
Yeah, and I understand Cardano is obviously non-custodial staking, and that would be kind of a nice plus to have. Except for, I guess, ViFi. I think you lock it up on ViFi, right? Yeah. So, as of now, it's undetermined. We may have both options where custodial maybe gets a little bit less or something, and locking it up for a predetermined time gets you more. It's still in discussion. It really depends on the smart contract development and how flexible we can make that. And but yeah, in any case, if you chose a lockup period or something, you could still access your COPI, and you just maybe, if you do it before like the minimum reward period or whatever, you just may lose out on it. So
sure. Okay. You kind of touched on these other ones. You said the staking should be it'll be integrated most likely into the website account.
That's my guess. I haven't really talked too much to the web development guys on which one it will be, but that's just my guess. Yeah.
And then the old fun question: when?
Yeah. We are currently talking to a few vendors for smart contract development, as well as evaluating kind of our internal resources for developing that. And I can't really give a time that I think it will happen. I think most logically it makes sense to kind of align a lot of this stuff with the launch of Season X, but I don't have a certain timeline on that.
Sure. No promises. Okay. Will staking COPI for COPI be available perpetually, or will it have intermittent breaks? So I think I understood this, that say each season is kind of representative of the pool, or is it ongoing? So if people remove COPI, then the APY changes during any amount of time, or is it during a specific amount of time?
So I think once we launch, the smart contract and the web account, accessibility to staking, I believe it will be a continual option to access, where you have predefined, time periods that you elect to stake, and then, but to my knowledge, we're planning to have it, always be, rewarding each season. So.
Sure. As opposed to like now, where when ViFi, when it's up, and then we wait for the next pool.
Right. Yeah, and that's part of the inefficiency of having to use third party vendors and stuff versus in house. But just as an extra thing to manage. So
yeah. Okay. Can we stake multiple chains of COPI in the same pool, and will they all be pulling from the same rewards? So will if you have a bag from each chain, are those 3 different then deposits of COPI and 3 different reward streams back to you?
Yeah, it's a good question, and one that, again, will depend on the development of kind of the smart contract and the user experience in the web account. I would imagine that if we did a non-custodial type thing, that might make that part a little bit easier, just because it would just be kind of an election in your player account and not actually taking your assets to the the smart contract or whatever. So,
sure.
We'll have to see on that one.
Okay. How long will the COPI staking mechanisms from okay, I would assume I would assume they'd be available until the new system comes online. If that sounds clear to you.
Yes, okay. I would say yes. That's most likely.
Okay. Does the team plan to build a staking mechanism in-house? Yes, you answered that. But I did leave this question because is the in-house staking for the Cornucopias NFTs? Because it did speak about staking your different vehicles and stuff like that. Is that going to be all integrated into the same platform?
So are you talking about the stake for NFTs?
I believe it's referenced to I believe so. Like you're referencing where you can stake and earn with your like your vehicles, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, so I don't want to speak incorrectly here, but I think once we get the game in a status where some of the assets are earning rewards within the game, like land and stuff like that, I don't believe the continuity of the land and NFT staking. I'm not sure if that'll continue because you would be earning rewards from the game usage.
Right.
So the Tokenomics Paper discussing the stake for NFTs, I believe that it's just you stake COPI and you earn the non-tradable NFTs.
Okay, so that makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know that somehow answers that question, but
in a roundabout way, yeah, I think so. I envision an in-game bank in the future. I'm not sure that is anything you can comment on, so I will just leave that to the imagination.
I'm guessing just they're referring to just being able to manage their kind of all their user actions and utility within the platform, and I would yes, that's definitely the plan.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you meant I'm walking in Colito Valley. There's a Cornucopias Bank, and you walk in and you're able to do your transactions, but it pulls up your web account.
In-game bank, gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a nice thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so when will this new form of staking go live? I don't think you have any concrete on that.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, it would be nice to have it by Q4 2024, but that's a non-approved target date.
Okay. Is staking for discounts in a different system than staking COPI for COPI? In other words, are you able to do only one at a time with the same pool of COPI, or can you double dip and receive a discount while staking COPI for COPI as well?
That as well is being discussed. I do see how the paper doesn't really clarify that. As of right now, I believe that they're exclusive of each other, but I think it's just going to involve a little bit more internal discussion on how we would manage that. So it's possible.
Okay. All right. Looks like we're on to our next category: RP and LP.
The fun stuff.
Yes. All right. I think you kind of touched on this one already. How many dexes per chain will be selected for liquidity providing? I would assume it's going to start with the ones that already have the highest liquidity from the get-go.
Yeah, we haven't really laid out any criteria for this, but yeah, the ones that have liquidity, the ones that have traffic and demand, that makes sense. There's no need to spread liquidity all over a bunch of dexes. So
yeah, okay. Okay. RP equals COPI ? So how will this be exchanged, and will the rate be variable? Will there be a fee involved in this exchange?
So RP is not synonymous with COPI. It is kind of in an indirect way. But so if obviously you play the game and you earn XP, RP is kind of like the cooler point system that you're going to earn based on progression, or sorry, not based on progression. Progression is XP related. You're going to earn RP based on like predefined skill achievements within the game. So like, let's say there's a racing event and you get second place or something, there's going to be a set amount of RP that was assigned to that you will earn. And for whatever activity within the game, like a lot of this stuff is still very early, and we haven't designed like what segments of the game are going to earn you what rewards. But let's just assume there's like a silo of activities that earn you rewards points. When you achieve whatever activity it is and you earn your rewards points, that proportion relative to the total rewards points earned from all players in that silo is going to be a share of the rewards that were dedicated to that activity.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
So
not exchangeable, but it determines your share of whatever rewards for that day or week or event. So
right. Okay. So it's not a process you are going to be in control of anyways. Correct.
Maybe slightly involved, but definitely not on like which game activities. So
okay. All right. In the statement below, in the below statement, it sounds like COPI USD is indeed the primary pool and will have the highest liquidity. Is that true? You kind of spoke on that. If it is all pairs, how is it decided this distribution? So how is the liquidity? How is it decided how the liquidity will be spread between the different chains? I believe.
Yeah, I think it would just be evaluated on a at that time. What is our user base? How are they spread among the chains? Like where's our demand? Where's what is the depth on trading for this chain? Just taking kind of a high level look at where it's needed.
Okay.
So be allocated. So
okay. This is an interesting kind of mathematical question. In the paper, it states 18% to liquidity providers in the COPI USD pair only. I think that's not true. Is that correct?
Okay. Update that.
That the stake LP for the LP token and 10% to single staking for COPI. Because the LP staking is an LP token, will essentially half of that 18% will it earn 9% for the same cost to the provider, since they have to provide the USDC side as well. Example, $1,000 worth of COPI and $1,000 worth of USDC, $2,000 in total of LP token. Is the 18% of the $2,000 value or only of the $1,000 COPI value? And is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, so this one is just going a little too deep in the calculation. It's purely just based on the LP token itself divided by how many LP tokens are staked.
Okay.
So you don't even need to go into how much COPI, because even if we did assign it to one side of it, that would apply to everybody, and it would end up being, I believe, the same allocation. So
okay. All right. Regarding the rewards points or RP, it seems logical that incentives could be offered to the community members for bringing more people to the game. Can you talk about how a reward system may be geared to incentivize increased participation and awareness?
This has briefly been discussed, like very briefly. But yes, we have talked about a referral program that could earn you reward points.
Okay. Yeah, that was mentioned a little bit in the COPI Cafe. So it is possible that those will be rewarded in RP.
Sure.
I'm going to take these one at a time. These are definitely more the mathematical side. Can we get more clarification on the fixed supply reward pool? Is this the same as the 30.7% game rewards allocation?
The fixed supply reward is the gameplay rewards category and the staking and farming category. So I believe it comes out to like 46% or so in total, 45%.
Okay. When rewards are transferred to the reward pool balance, will there be separate pools for racing, fishing, district rewards, etc.? If so, would each pool have its own 2.5 basis point cap?
So as far as the breaking it up into the different categories, yes, I mean, definitely rewards will be allocated to the different gameplay types and will fluctuate, based on various things. Maybe we're trying to get testing of a certain thing in a certain area of the game, and so we'll, try to drive traffic there that way. I assume we'll use it as a tool to drive traffic into certain directions, but in general, will be allocated by gameplay type. The 2.5 basis point benchmark or threshold is really just an upper limit that was used in economic modeling to ensure the release of tokens from the rewards pool over time remained healthy. So there may be seasons where it's less than the 2.5 basis points. There likely will be seasons when it's definitely the full 2.5 basis points. There's just a lot of factors that contribute to it, like infrastructure development, our current player base size, and just how much do we want to grow in the next quarter type thing. So there's a lot of factors that determine what that is.
Okay. Sounds good. Can you further explain the multiplier mechanics? Do all earned rewards get put through the same multiplier formula, or are multipliers for specific activities?
So in the paper, it's currently only for LP staking, and that would be based on selecting the number of weeks that you are locking up your LP tokens, and then the multiplier would effectively apply to your amount. And assuming you held it through the end, that would be how that would work.
Okay. How will Cornucopias decide which LPs to supply buyback assets to?
Is this question stating which pairs we're going to allocate the buyback? I feel like we might have already answered this question.
Yes. Yeah. I think you kind of said it's going to be due to what
just where the liquidity needs are.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Is the plan to deploy all rewards mechanisms in one go or in phases?
I would like to say all at once, just for a nice, clean go at it, and just the development of the smart contract is kind of ties it all together. So I would envision that those would be at the same time, but it's always possible that it's different
Sure.
depending on gameplay development and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what I'm gathering is it ideal situations is you guys would launch all of this in one crack, but
Yep.
Yeah, it always changes.
Yep.
If at some point in the future the liquidity pool becomes saturated, could there be a mechanism to burn COPI, or perhaps that COPI would be used to increase rewards? Are there also plans for COPI USDM liquidity pool?
We had talked about liquidity pool becoming oversaturated and what we would do. A burn mechanism is on the table, but not very early, and there's a lot of variables that come into play there. Still undecided. The rewards, I guess they're saying if it became saturated, would that go to the rewards pool instead? That could be possible too. That's a detail we're still ironing out. As far as COPI USDM, no, at this time we don't have any plans for that.
Okay. Yeah. Clarity is good on that one. I know a lot of people were asking. So,
Okay.
in the document, it says rewards will decrease over time. Is that because the expectation is for COPI USD to rise, so that your vision, the rewards in USD may continue to climb, but the quantity of COPI will go down?
So I think I can't really comment on the expectation of the price.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just.
but
I'm okay.
we can answer it. I mean, yes, it's set up from a mathematical standpoint to never allow the rewards pool to deplete, because if it's a fixed percentage multiplied by a starting fixed reward pool, that will just continue into infinity. So yes, maybe the price goes up, maybe it goes down, but the fact is that it's just set up so it doesn't deplete.
Okay. Yeah. Will there be a separate pool for seasonal rewards so that it does not affect the formula for daily rewards? And are competition rewards pulled from the daily rewards pool or a different pool?
So the seasonal rewards is basically, it's based on the 2.5 basis point calculation. That's kind of the starting point. Then to like kind of how I'm thinking about it, we're still on the early stages of development for this, obviously, but there's going to be different gameplay activities that might be tied to daily rewards, different ones tied to events, and then maybe different ones tied to seasonal performance. But all of those are pulled from the same 2.5 basis point starting point.
Sure.
So
okay.
I think that answers the second question too. So yeah, it all comes from that starting point. So
yeah. Okay. Will there be a maximum cap on the daily COPI rewards we can earn in a given day through playing? And if so, what is that cap looking like?
Yes, whoever wrote this question is probably referring to the key risk indicator paragraph, I'm assuming. So there will be a cap potentially. It's only triggered in a scenario where our daily active users unexpectedly drops, and it's more applied on the total average across all players. It's not tied to an individual player. So like, if obviously if you win first place in like a racing tournament or a racing event or something, you're probably going to win the most rewards. So even with this cap, you likely would still be able to earn the same amount of rewards as you typically see. It just might adjust downward if the daily active users drops, which affects the RP point calculation.
Okay.
So
yeah. So if you're the only player, you're not scooping at every single reward in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Does the land size determine the potential COPI rewards? I don't know if this is an in-game question, but
yeah, Rob has a lot of detail on this. Maybe I can pass this one off to him in COPI Cafe.
Sounds good. Will there be ways we can use the COPI token to rush or speed up the process of building out our land plots? For example, let's say we want to upgrade our woodshop from level 3 to 4. Can we simply buy more COPI, or I would assume in this case, in-game currency, and use it to finish the upgrade?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying it's a question, but and David could definitely provide more info on it. But from what I've heard is that yes, you will be able to buy in-game currency to help speed up progression. However, it's going to be capped on how much you could buy to make sure the game doesn't, get out of hand and there's still competition.
Right. There's no pay to win, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this is continuing on more gameplay. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. To continue on to point 4, can we use COPI to buy materials such as bricks to further speed up our land progression? I think you kind of touched on this. So we'll just move on. That wraps up our questions. Ben, I really appreciate you taking your very valuable time and sharing it with us. and being able to get together with me at the request of helping out the community. And I think this is just such a representation of how transparent the team is and how much they care about the community. So thank you to yourself and the entirety of the team for allowing this to happen. And if I could end it on one very interesting question, what does the doc PFP mean to you?
What does the doc PFP mean?
Yeah, your doc PFP. Isn't that Doc from Back to the Future?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's just one of my favorite movies, Back to the Future, and then I created a username that I thought was cool. It's Back to the Futures because I was trading futures, and so yeah, not really any meaning to it other than
there's a little bit of a backstory. I appreciate it.
Mess with numbers all day, so I'm like, it's a cool pick.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you again, Ben, and yeah, I look forward to getting this out to the community as soon as possible. So I will see you around the cornfield, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.